Boom. Welcome to the Magento Money podcast.
Welcome to the Magento Money podcast. If you're here for the nth time, we love and appreciate you. Sorry we haven't posted anything in a while. Thank you for the patience. I'm
Welcome back.
I'm
Missed you
Steve
guys.
B.
Yes, and I'm
this is
Steve T.
T.
Yeah, let's split screen it. Let's do the split screen thing.
Cool.
That way they can see us. Oh no, not up and down. There we go. Boom. So the topic today is like investing, right? Or money.
Yeah, money. so yeah, what I was saying is that I was asking Steve T if he's invested in the stock market, and I was just about to tell him about Dogecoin. Are you familiar with Dogecoin?
Is it Doge like Doja or Doge like Dojo?
I have no idea. I just know
I think it's
people are
actually,
making.
isn't it Dodge? Dogecoin?
No, it's not Dodge.
Oh, okay.
I've been
No,
misspelling it as Dodge, but I'm pretty sure it's Doge.
no, I haven't heard of it. Tell me.
So it's a cryptocurrency. Like it started off as a meme, and then like Elon Musk tweeted about it, and then there's like a bunch of people just talking about it, and then it skyrocketed. It came from like less than a penny.
All right.
It was worth less than a penny, and now it's worth like 40 cents. So you can imagine, like, I don't know, spending like $100, and then if you kept it, now you're making like you've made a couple of thousand, right? I actually know a friend of a friend that's made about $100,000. Well, he hasn't sold yet, but he made about $100,000, or he has at least $100,000 invested in Dogecoin. His initial investment was about 10,000.
Wow. That is
So
intense, man.
But anyway, I didn't invest that much. I made about $800 in Dogecoin.
Well, see, but I think that's the thing too. Like for me, I'm much more conservative than to invest in a cryptocurrency. But if you had $10,000, where it's like, this isn't going to change my world, whether or not this $10,000 exists, and you want to take a flyer like that, dude, do it. Like, I mean,
but what I was gonna say is, you don't need to invest that much, right? I mean, I invested, I think, like $100,
right,
and I made yeah.
But
Go
in
ahead.
your world, that $100, if it went away, you wouldn't be like.
So come on, you're trying
Yeah.
to tell me, and you're trying to tell our audience that you can't afford $100. Okay, we're not believing that at all.
No. I just mean like, for you and for the audience, like my advice would always be, if you're going to get into cryptocurrency or even single stocks, if you're going to buy a company like this or Apple or one of these, I would just say be prepared to maybe lose that money. If you can't if you can't see yourself losing that money, then don't put it into like a single stock. Put it in an index fund. Put it in a mutual fund that makes 12-14%.
So I would disagree.
Okay.
But at the same time, I want to put out a disclaimer. We are not financial advisors.
Yes, we're not financial advisors.
So we shouldn't even be talking about this, since this is
no,
the Magento podcast.
Yeah, my current employer does not have a 401k. Steve B, your current employer does.
Yes.
And
yes,
of course, yes. I mean, do they have a match? I don't know if you want to get into all that.
Yes, they do. They match up to 5% of your of your salary. I don't know, 5% of something. I don't know what the number is.
No, it's 5% of what you put in.
Yeah, 5.
That's why it's called a match.
I don't. No. 5% of what I put in? No, that would be like a really low amount. I don't think it's that low. No, it's definitely not. We'll bring that back up. But then basically, if I put in $100, they would put $5. What's like?
No. So the 401k match, the way it works is
Mm-hmm.
this is important for everyone. 401k match. So it means how much you contribute. The most common way employers determine the match is up to a certain limit. So, okay, like 5%, it wouldn't be $5 for your 100. It's that they're going to match you 100% up to 5% of your limit.
Okay.
That makes sense? So $100 for $100 all the way up to 5%. And usually I think the 401k limit is, okay.
I don't think they're well.
Oh no, okay. So we were both right. This one says your employer may elect to match 100% of your contributions up to a percentage, which in your case would be the 5% of your total compensation, or they could match a percentage of your contributions up to the limit. Like, so what I was saying.
Yeah.
So let's see. Some employers match up to a certain dollar amount. I've never heard of that one. Yeah. So assume your employer offers 100% match on all your contributions up to 3%, which I think is probably what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it would be like, and this one says 3% of your annual income. I haven't heard of that one, but
so
cool.
like if I make a bazillion dollars and then I contribute 3% of that to my 401k, well, let's say I donate or put 3% of my income or my weekly pay into the 401k. They'll match whatever that percentage is. If it ends up being $500 every pay period, they'll put in another $500 for me. But let's say I put in 10%, they would only match and that was like let's say it was, I don't know, $2,000. I'm not doing math here, don't judge me. No, but anyway, so yeah, they would only match the 500 because that's their limit.
Yeah.
So
and then a lot of times too, you have to stay for a certain amount of years for those things to actually completely hit the account.
Yeah, I think it's the term is vested. So after a certain amount of time, your amount is vested. Before that, it's just there, and it's like, yeah, man, if you just work a little bit longer, we'll give you this money.
Yeah.
Right now, it's still ours.
Yeah.
But
I guess that's part of the thing I was trying to say with the whole cryptocurrency thing is, and let me get this straight based on what you're saying. Like, I would always say, look, if you have a 401k at work and you get a match, do that before you start putting a bunch of money into like a cryptocurrency. Get your match.
So I wouldn't say to put money into cryptocurrency. Like, well, if you're risk averse, right? If you don't have the money to lose, I would advise against putting your money, a whole bunch of money that you can't afford to lose into cryptocurrency, especially like one that's volatile, like Dogecoin. Once again, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't sue me. Don't take your life savings and put it into into some cryptocurrency. But what I did disagree with was about investing in single stocks. I don't believe, like, just the history of the market. You are not, like, if you invest in a company like Apple, you're not likely to lose all of your money. I didn't say it couldn't happen.
You're right.
I didn't say it couldn't happen, but I'm just saying it's highly unlikely.
Didn't they recently like split and then?
Yeah, Apple stocks like Apple and Google and Tesla, they constantly become so huge or pricey that they have to do splits, right? The whole point of the split is right? If the stock is $1,000, we split it into four, and now more people can buy the stock, right? Because it's cheaper. But then every time they split, the stocks just get more like they get too pricey again, and then they have to split again. So
why would you invest in like Apple or Google or Alphabet or whatever, instead of just doing like a tech mutual fund that has like Apple and all of them in there?
Well,
Because you're just trying to see more upside than like
yeah.
12% or so. Okay.
Well, I believe the average the average return on the stock market is about 7-8%. 12% is outperforming the market. Like
Well,
that's
that's how
like
your
above
mutual fund
average.
should do. Yeah. I mean, the index fund, I think index is like around 10, isn't it? An index fund usually? I don't know.
I don't know anything about index funds.
All an index fund is literally you're investing in the whole like Dow.
Correct.
Will
So
the whole market go up or down?
correct. I'm familiar with the concept, but what I'm saying is I've never personally like purchased one. Yeah. So I don't know what
Index
the
fund.
average return is and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard different numbers because it's like it's hard too. Like you get these different sources, like what is it? Jeff Bogle and the Bogleheads, and
Jim
then
Jim Cramer.
Jim Cramer, yeah. Or Dave Ramsey said has his certain numbers, and what is the other ones? Reddit. You gotta get on Reddit, man, and Wall Street Bets.
So yeah, I had AMC for and GameStop for like 2 seconds.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, I sold them pretty quickly, but then I held on to Dogecoin since it was so cheap. And that's done pretty well. And the thing is, Dogecoin started off as a meme and it was less than a penny. And now it is 40 cents. So the world is crazy how you could like you literally can create a currency just off of like just a meme.
Yeah.
Like what are you looking
Okay.
at?
No, you're right. So the index funds since like modern history have averaged 8% return.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, and that's I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying is that like when I say 12% or 10% on like a good growth stock mutual fund, I mean, I could send you some examples and you could just Google like growth stock. You would want to beat the index, or else it's like, why wouldn't I just be in an index fund?
Yeah.
And you would want to see that. And obviously they always say that too. Like, I don't know if you've ever checked your 401k or just when you're investing in a mutual fund, it always says, well, past history is no indication of future. And it's like, what the heck? What are you? Yes, it is. It's exactly what it is. But they're just like all this lawyer talk of like,
Yeah.
yeah, how else am I supposed to
I
choose
think future
between?
yeah, it's like, well, the thing is everybody's trying to cover their, what? So they don't want to be like, well, you told me I was gonna be rich and I lost X amount of dollars. But the point of all this is you can like the I think the number one rule or the key thing that I've learned or I was taught was diversification, right? Don't
Yeah.
you don't necessarily need to invest in an index fund or maybe or mutual fund. You just need to have a diversified portfolio. And if one stock is not doing so well, if you picked your stocks well and you stick in the market long term, the ones that do well should compensate for the ones that aren't doing so well. The other thing is you also have to look at things like what do they call them? Dividends, right?
Dividends.
Yeah. So I don't like a lot of times people say like investing in the stock market is like gambling, and I don't think so. There aren't a lot of rich people from there aren't a lot of rich gamblers, but there are a lot of rich investors, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is though, like, I would say that
Mhm.
I don't know. Have you ever heard of that thing where they took the like best stock investors in the world, and they put them up against just like someone throwing darts at the newspaper for
I
like
mean,
picking a portfolio? And they did. It was like they didn't do any better. It was the same exact. But that's like that's not the same as like Warren Buffett, right? Like the dude knows how to pick stocks, like obviously.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know, man. All I'll say is like with the whole stock thing, if you're into it and that's your thing, and you could afford to lose the money or whatever, have fun. For me, like I'm writing Magento stuff. Okay, I'm not worried about all that when to buy and when to sell and all this stuff. Like,
But if you listen to Warren Buffett, you just pick a stock that you believe in, and then you just hold it for like however long this guy's been alive,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
for forever, and then you'll do fine because he's not trying to time the market. He's
right,
just buying stuff he believes in and then holding it long term, and that's how he became a billionaire. Um,
yeah.
but anyway, you wanna switch to the Magento topic now, or you want to keep going in this direction?
Well, no, I think honestly, this is a Magento topic as far as like people who are working in the field. If you can, like the whole point of working, I guess, is to make money,
Yeah.
right? So I would say let's just keep talking about money for a little while here. Because I guess one of the reasons too that this came up is we were talking about getting out of debt, and I
Mhm.
know not everybody is necessarily looking to like cut up their credit cards or anything, but definitely having a lot of consumer debt is not going to help you in the world. Um, so,
So
or having a big student loan. Biden might come and save us all from our student loans.
hey,
We'll
stay away
see.
from the politics, okay?
We'll see. I'm just hey.
Hey, we're a neutral podcast, kind of,
Right. No, we
but
are
yeah,
totally neutral.
so so yes, let's not bring
It's all
Biden
good.
into this.
It's
Anyways,
all good.
so with that, I guess so there's two approaches to financial freedom. Some people just like to save a whole bunch of money. And some people think that they should just try to make as much money as possible and handle the debt that way. Um, so I guess the question is, which type of person do you think you are?
I mean, I guess back in the day, I used to kind of be more like off the grid type of
Yeah,
like,
you're
yeah,
gonna
like I
get a
just,
tiny house.
yeah, no, like, yeah, something more like that. Yeah, I was just like, um, if you had lent me money, oh well, like I just didn't for a long time there. It was just whatever. So, but then I kind of grew up and got more responsible, and yeah, I started kind of making a plan of like how to pay things off, and going down the more traditional route of not like. So you forgot the third option, which is just to not care at all. Basically, be a
Be like,
grifter.
that is an illusion. It's you're
Catch
trying to
me if you can.
enslave me.
Yeah,
The banks are just printing money. Why do I have to pay this back?
yeah. And I'm just watching like Zeitgeist all day long. None of it's real, man. Money. Just, I'm a
Exactly.
sovereign citizen, and you know, I just.
Seems like you're drifting back into that as we talk. You're just gonna get
no,
up
no.
and be like, "This podcast is pointless. I don't
Yeah,
need money."
just a concept. No, I would say currently I'm a little more like a little bit of both though, because you said like you kind of set up a false thing of like, oh, either you're saving all your money or just try to get rich and like outspend your or not out earn your need to have a retirement fund. I think like hope for the best, plan for the worst type of thing of like look, we're younger-ish, me and you. I'd say you're more younger than me, so we kind of have to, as we can right now, take advantage of the compound interest aspect and try to hit retirement kind of hard, like hit the 401s, hit the IRAs, just in case of, just in case we don't hit the lotto and cash out on some company or something, right? Like,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
we're not eating cat food when we're 90, like you're not just going to be able to, who knows? So I just want to hedge my bets. And yeah,
Yeah.
man, I want to get super rich and not have to, I'll just look at my tiny 401k one day and be like, ha ha ha, it doesn't matter. Like,
You
look at my
just
bank
donated to
account.
charity.
Yeah, that would be cool. But then again, who knows? Maybe I need that money one day, and
Yeah.
play both sides.
So yeah, I agree. Like I'm kind of like in between, but you'll see that yeah, there are people out there who don't try to increase their income, right? They don't try to increase their skill or maybe go to a different company where they can make more money, and their whole approach is just linear, and it's just like I'm gonna save my way out of debt. If I make 40,000 a year, I'm gonna live off of 20, and I'm gonna recycle and do extreme couponing and stuff like that.
I think
Um,
it's possible to do that.
it is, but I don't know how like happy those people are because then I feel like they become so obsessed with saving money that like nothing else matters.
It's like that show. You seen that show?
I don't know what show you're talking about, but I remember like watching like a 15-minute clip of some show where this guy basically reused garbage.
Yes. Yep. That's the show.
um, but on the flip side, I think Magento kind of creates that opportunity for you to have income that outpaces your expenses, and maybe you're not ultra rich, but you could pay off some debt, and then it's like even if it just, and there's not just, there's so many
Well,
avenues within Magento, right? Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, like, even if you had that lower paying job, let's say 40 a year, like you could make a lot, like just delivering pizzas or something, if you had to pay off some chunk that your normal income couldn't help you with, like let's say a student loan.
Mm-hmm.
There's ways to temporarily go hard and get rid of that, and then kind of when you're past that, you can go back to a more normal thing for you, where you don't have to eat garbage or whatever it was.
I don't know, man. People do like extreme stuff, like eat like ramen noodles for like months at a time, and peanut PB&J sandwiches.
I
It's
think honestly, that to me,
but
it makes sense. Like if you pair that with a side job, that makes sense. Like you're going full
mhm.
all in for this short amount of time. But to me, to do one or the other is a little crazy. And I'm guilty. I'll get a side job and I won't cut my lifestyle back. I'll just live full max, and then I'll get the side job to like compensate. And I think it's a little weird to do. And same thing would be like if you're gonna cut back and eat ramen and you know, just make yourself rice and beans every day, basically, you should probably have a side job too. I mean, just get out of the hole.
the the thing is, what I noticed though is like when I try to really go hard, like it makes me want to like reward myself, and then I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like I end up spending more money,
Oh yeah.
right? Because then
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, I'm so tired, I don't want to cook tonight, or I want to buy this thing because I deserve it, and then it's like, am I like just putting myself, like, am I just working harder and not moving forward because now I feel like I need to feel good because I'm working hard, and and in reality, like nothing has really changed. I'm not really moving forward. I mean,
Yeah.
can you
Well,
relate to
but
that?
it's not only that, but like when you get to that point where you've, let's say, worked a whole week of two jobs and you've been doing 12-hour days or whatever, when you get to that Friday or whatever it is, you have no defense left. Your brain is literally just like, if someone says, well, let's order pizza, let's do this, drinks that, and you're just like, yeah, I've been working my a tail off. Of course, we're gonna do all those things.
How much?
Right?
Like they're like, what? But it's gonna cost us $50. I don't give a.
Doesn't
Get
matter.
me
Yeah.
that pizza right
Yeah.
now. I need it.
It's you have no like. It's almost like when you start taking some drinks, and
Yeah,
then you wanted to like not do whatever other things you were like that you have no defense anymore because you've been taking the drinks. So you're like, give me the smoke. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette now, right? Like that's
yeah,
just the progression.
yep. So it's definitely like the thing is personal finance is one of those super complex things. I mean, because there's the okay, I don't know when I'm gonna I don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring, right? So I'm gonna live my best life today, right?
Yeah.
And people are just like, well, what am I saving all this money for? And I understand those people because it's like, tomorrow's not promised to anybody. But then it's like, okay, what if I live until I'm 90 and I just partied partied away in my 20s and didn't save any money and
Yeah, you
didn't
have to like
prioritize
hug people at the door of Walmart as they come in. Or
that.
what is it?
Well,
I don't,
that was pre-COVID activity, sir.
yeah. Honestly, and I have nothing against like those old people that do that or whatever, but I don't want to or be like a crossing guard or
Yeah,
something. Maybe
yeah,
my grandpa did that. I guess he enjoyed it, but
yeah,
I don't want to. I don't want to have to. You
yeah.
know.
But I mean, let's say we do go the increase. Let's say we do want to increase our incomes. I mean, like you want to just get to a point where your income outpaces your expenses. Like what? I mean, you talked
Well, your
about.
income should already outpace your expense. If you're not doing that,
Well, a lot of people.
sinking under a
Yes,
hole,
yes. Well, I
move.
mean, why do you think the government's sending out these checks, man, to
Yeah,
keep people afloat?
that's true. Yeah, but I
um,
mean, like in that case, I would move, man. Move in with a roommate, back with your parents.
yeah, I
You
mean,
can. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want.
yeah,
Not
that's
everybody has that option, but
yeah, yeah. But in terms of increasing that income, I know one guy that does Magento, and he like moves from job to job very quickly, and it pays off because every job pays him more money. And it's like for me, it's like like I told you, I talked about this before. I feel like a sense like I owe a company X amount of months because they invested in me. I don't know, maybe it's just not smart of me. But anyway, this guy makes a significant amount of money um, working on Magento. And the reason he does that is because he'll be like, well, they paid me X amount of dollars at this company. If you want me, pay me this amount. And then, just keeps jumping from, one place to another. And he's able to consistently increase his income. So is it, I know we had talked about this before, but you think, is it kind of foolish to have that mentality of I'm loyal to this company? I'm gonna.
no. I mean, I'm very loyal. I've always had that too, but I mean, what's that one channel we always talk about? That one guy. He's like, employers don't love you, man. They're not your family.
Oh man. Oh, I know who you're
It's like
talking about.
Josh something.
I forget his name. I forget his name.
Uh,
Um.
but yeah, I guess that kind of thinking changed my mind when I started watching that guy's channel. I didn't go all the way down the rabbit hole with him, but I don't know. I mean, I've definitely made a lot more changing jobs than I've ever made on raises. So,
Mhm.
I mean, you can't get a 20% raise. I've never heard of that, but
Yeah.
you could definitely get a different job that makes 20% more. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's probably a little different when you're starting out too. Like, because what you want to do is build a solid foundation so that when you do go to whatever next job or whatever, that you're like bulletproof because you worked a year or two already doing Magento stuff at a place that was maybe a little more chill or just kind of had a little more forgiving or something. Like I had a lot of jobs when I first started out that were pretty chill, like, or forgiving, like as far as like they just needed a web developer and I was their guy and I did that with them for years. And I was and I learned a lot during those years. And then when I started changing jobs and stuff to get those increases, I had a lot of skills to bring to the table each time. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess you could switch jobs and get an increase and then they'd be like, sometimes, I mean, maybe I never had it happen where they decided after I got the job that I wasn't good enough. I always fear that, but I never actually had it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That is definitely a concern for sure. Um I would agree though, in order for you, and just personally, I would think if you want to get some financial freedom, you first of all have to kind of figure out what your career or what it is that you're going to do and get really good at that and get good at some place. And obviously they're not going to pay you a whole bunch of money, but obviously you put in the time, or you give back to you give back what they invested in you, because there's a lot of I think fresh grads that think they should be making six figures out the door, and then they a lot of people, a lot of companies are hesitant to hire them because you especially if you hire someone for Magento and they know, they're a fresh grad. Who knows Magento out of college? Nobody, right? I
Oh,
don't
we
know.
did.
Huh? Well, I mean, an exception, but I mean, I had an internship kind of while I was in college. It just happened like and I still was very green anyway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, but then like yeah, you kind of have to just, I feel like, take that first job, um you know pay back what was invested in you, because out of college you basically know nothing. But then from that point on, you can't just stay there. You In order to get that financial freedom, unless they're going to promote you and pay you some big bucks, which is highly unlikely, you have to make the jump, and it may be
Well,
a
I think
few
honestly,
jumps.
you
Yeah.
might be missing a couple of things here, right? Like, because the only thing I'll
Uh-huh.
say is like, if your lifestyle is not matching up with your income,
Mm-hmm.
regardless if you're planning to like make a lot more later, you
Mm-hmm.
might have to go down in car. Like I used to buy these nice cars, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, I
You
would
don't drive a
basically
nice
be
car now?
no, no. I
I
drive
thought
an
you had
old
a
car.
Ferrari.
No, I mean, so that's the thing is like, yeah, you definitely will do everything you're talking about. I totally agree with it. But also, if you're not feeling like you're financially free or whatever, there could be some lifestyle stuff you could change around. Like maybe you don't need to have a $1,000 car payment or a big truck or an awesome brand new car. Maybe just getting from point A to point B is okay, and that'll let you chill at that job you're talking about a little longer, or do the roommate thing. I lived with roommates all the way until I got married, basically. I mean, I
But you were in California. That's pretty normal.
yeah, you have to.
What?
Unless you're balling, like, yeah, that's true. Busted.
We okay. So don't make it seem like, I was doing it and nobody else is doing it. Everybody was doing it in California. I'm just messing with you. But no,
You're
I
good.
agree. I agree. The key here is no matter how much money you make, you can always outspend yourself, right? There's people that win the lottery all the time. Well, not people don't win the lottery every day, but a lot of people that
Every
win
week.
huh?
Yeah.
A lot
There's
of
like
people that win the lottery never like had money they never even dreamed about, that they would have never made like working their job, and somehow they squander it and they're broke just a few years later.
yeah.
um
It's like 80%, isn't it? Something ridiculous.
yeah, a huge number. And the reality is you could be a billionaire and still go broke, because there's things that cost $1 billion. You can buy a $1 billion business that goes nowhere, and basically just be broke again. So it's not impossible to go broke at
Yeah.
any income level, or I guess net worth, right?
Yeah. For a long time there, being broke would have been a major upgrade for me because I was just totally in debt. Like I was so far in debt that like having no money would have been great.
I forget which comedian said it, but he was like, this is like, I was at the point, when people use double negatives.
Yeah.
Uh, so he was like, this is the only time the phrase "I don't have no money" actually makes sense,
I don't have
because he
no money.
literally
Yeah.
doesn't even have $0. He has less than no money.
Yeah.
And so
And they
so
offer him like a
he
free
can't.
sample if somebody's like, I can't afford it. It's
Yeah. And then he was like, basically, he couldn't, basically, what did he say? He was so broke that his bank was charging, like, what.
oh yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think maybe it's Cat Williams. I
No,
can't
not Cat
remember.
Williams.
I don't know.
But basically, he was basically saying,
They
the
charge you to
rich,
be broke. Yeah.
they
And
charge you to be broke.
they do. And it's like it's such a trip, man. It's so true. Oh, and then like, oh, you're rich? Here's some more money. Why don't you
Exactly.
It's weird.
But it's funny. But is there any other thing you wanted to touch on this topic, but or
No, I mean, I think the main things we kind of touched on, which is like, obviously, I'm a big fan of getting out of debt. Magento, doing that work is great. I make more doing Magento than I ever did with Drupal, although I love Drupal. I'm not saying I don't love Magento, but I really loved Drupal. I love the community. Um, WordPress, it's fine too, but it's not like Magento. You make money doing Magento, so keep it up.
well, well, a little birdie told me that Magento might become like a SaaS product, and this whole open source community thing is probably gonna die, and that just crushed my little heart. But then I realized, like, there's people still on Magento 1, so like, even if there's some cool SaaS product from Adobe um, out there, there's still going to be some room for developers, and then it's going to take a while for people to migrate, right?
Well, what's the trip is? Have you looked
Thoughts on
into
that?
their? Uh, can you hear me? Hello. Oh,
Yes, I can. Yes.
I was gonna say, what's the trip? Have you looked into their experience manager thing at all? AEM, Adobe
No.
Experience Manager. It's a Java app, right? And it's this crazy. It's not crazy. It's intense. It's like a fully built out page builder, basically a marketing tool that you build your whole experience in, and then that can connect to Magento, and so you'll have like an Adobe Experience Manager way to build all your pages and manage everything, and that connects to Magento, which then displays it and has the commerce functionality. Now, the crazy part of that is that AEM is a Java app. So you'll
Mm-hmm.
have this crazy cross-functional team of Java people maintaining and updating the AEM thing, like whatever it is, and then the whole stack, right? The server, all of it. And then you have your Magento team and its front end and its back end all dealing with the commerce side. I think especially when they first bought Magento, that was like their big thing, was jamming those two together. I've talked to a couple of companies that do it, but I haven't had a ton of experience with using them together myself.
So, I
Check it out.
mean,
Check it out.
someone told me that's what Magento 3 is going to be.
Oh,
So,
Magento 3.
but I can't
Something
disclose my sources.
No, I would never ask.
But yeah, that is something to look out for. And I'm interested and seeing how that shapes the landscape and yeah, where it takes us all, right?
Are
It's
you
the
saying in the next 5 years we should all be prepared for a big shift in everything that we see
man,
now?
I am not a Magento advisor. It's like I wasn't a financial advisor. Okay, this is a disclaimer. Don't take my word for anything. Do as you plan to do. Like get your information wherever you get it. It's just a little birdie gave me this information. Okay. And I don't know if it's in the next 5 years, right? But then I mean Magento 3, how far off is Magento 3? We're at 2.4.2 now. Is there gonna be a 2.5? Is there gonna be a 2.5? Or are we slated to get a 2.5? I don't
Well, they already have 2.4.3 in beta.
okay.
I don't know about
Okay.
2.5. I'm always surprised when they come with a new point number. It's like they want to integrate other things, like they'll add dot digital or some other big service, and they're like, here, you take this piece of Magento. We're gonna let that be this provider.
Yeah, I think in 2.4 the change was that or was it in 2.3 that they killed all like authorized.net and all those other payment methods and made Braintree like the main thing.
Yeah.
Um
Although you could still use authorized,
so
you just have to do their custom one.
yeah, yeah. Um so I'm I mean if there is a Magento 2.5, I'm curious to see what's in there. And then yeah, let's see if this Java machine. And you know what's funny? You've
You
always been
love Java.
complaining.
Oh, I'm
No.
complaining.
You've always been complaining that Magento seems like it was made by some backend Java developer
A
who doesn't know anything
PhD
about the web.
computer scientist. Yes, that's what I say. That's my line.
So your worst like nightmare like coming true.
No, there's some good Java apps for the web. I just feel like something like Drupal was developed by web developers for web developers, and you kind of like when you get in there, you're like, oh, this is like templating, and they use Twig, and the back end is separated over into this folder, and it's all just works like this. Okay, that all makes sense. But you get into Magento, and you're like, whoa, I need to go read for a month. Like what? And then
For a
by the time
month.
you're done reading for that month, you're just like, okay, I think I understand. I'm not sure why they decided to do it this way, but I understand kind of how it all works.
You
It
better
was
you better hope you can get your local environment up running consistently within a month.
yeah.
Right? Uh,
Yeah.
um
Yep. Yeah.
so
I just feel like
yeah,
whoever
it's
initially sat
it's
down and
tough.
invented Magento or Magento 2 was a very high level computer scientist, like a PhD person. And they did everything the way that made total sense to them. And it came out a little different than everything else on the web. I think we could all agree that most other kind of stacks aren't like Magento or Magento 2. They're very like PHP doesn't really have the concept of compiling and then keeping like the DI whatever, like it's like they kind of invented that piece of something you wouldn't normally see in a PHP app and said this
Yeah.
is the middle, like we're gonna do dependency injection and it's gonna be awesome. And you're just like, okay, let's do it, baby.
Yeah, unless you're using Docker on Mac and then it just takes forever.
Yeah.
And
But like
all of
even
that stuff screws you over.
like think about it. If you went to use Zen or Cake or I don't know what's that old one, Code Igniter, like a PHP framework, and you were gonna build an kind of an open source e-commerce thing, like what Magento became, would one of your moves be pre-compiling? And like I just don't know where that concept got introduced into PHP and like a Zen derived e-commerce platform. But maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know.
Well, I mean, so I think the whole like, I guess, um selling point for Magento is like it's scalable, right? It's uh in theory it can like you can have a larger catalog and still, and it's able to handle that. And it's because of the way it's architected, right? Because someone carefully designed it in a way for it to be performant, even though people say, oh yeah, well, because PHP in theory is or generally speaking is slower than like Java or something, right?
Right. Right.
So I think that's why you ended up with a more complex, more like overly architected system, because they wanted to work on a enterprise scale versus like WordPress. I don't know if anybody's using WordPress like or WooCommerce to manage, I don't know, like a enterprise level e-commerce experience. Do you know of any companies?
Yeah, I'm sure it exists, but it's not a good practice. Like, because like what you would expect in those conditions is if you hit it hard enough with like traffic or whatever, JMeter or something, that it's
Mm-hmm.
just gonna start melting, and you would just be like, yeah, duh.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the question is, before Magento, what kind of was there?
Well, I mean, there were lots of carts. There was like, gosh, what were all those little carts that were around? I think they had one called Zen Cart.
Mm-hmm.
And there were, I mean, that what it used to be called. It was a cart. So you had Zen Cart, you had all these little PHP, and it was even like traditional .asp
Mm-hmm.
carts that were all around. Um, but I don't know. I mean, Yahoo Store. Do you remember Yahoo Stores? That was
Yeah,
like the first traditional like SaaS offering of a e-commerce
yeah.
beast, and I think that one actually was like a compiled thing. It was almost like a static page generator.
Mm-hmm. So so yeah, I think that's where it comes from. And then I think like the other thing was, despite Magento just being a beast, if you once you know Magento, assuming people's followed best practices, you can kind of jump into any Magento project and kind of know like, okay, this is how this thing's supposed to work. If I need to modify this behavior, I just need to do this, versus more lax frameworks where people could
Yeah,
have just done whatever they wanted to do, and now you're just trying to figure out what the hell happened here, and why does this do this, and where does the code that generates this page live. Like, generally speaking, I
yeah.
can, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I guess what I'm comparing it to is Drupal,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying that like once you know Magento that you can't drop into whatever project's done according to standards and get it. But like I guess just the learning curve of like, let's say you're a seasoned web developer who's done a bunch of projects, maybe you built them yourself or you had these other frameworks, maybe .NET or just something else. And then you dropped yourself into like Drupal, you would kind of, it makes, I think, more logical sense kind of, there'd be a lot more you could do without necessarily jumping into the docs, even though of
Mm-hmm.
course you should read the documentation. But then Magento is kind of just like its own path that it struck out into the web development wilderness, which is fine. And I mean, obviously they went way far down that path, so it's it's just different, and that's I think why people get paid so much to do it, because number one, most web developers when they look at it, they don't want to do it. They say, this isn't for me. Like I checked out Magento, and that thing is weird and different, and I don't want to learn web development all over again. Right. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of a prevailing thing I've heard from quite a few of my buddies. Um,
No,
but I always encourage people, dude, if you can get over the hump, you can make more this way. I mean, I just got off of doing a side job as a React developer, and you make good money, but it's without that Magento backup, it's kind of like, I don't know.
yeah, like fresh out of college, before I realized like that I had kind of stumbled upon the Magento gold mine. No, I won't call it a gold mine. But okay, so I got a job. I had no idea what Magento was. And I was in love with Java, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be a Java developer.
Java is cool.
Yeah, Java is cool. But Kotlin is the fresh or the newbie on the block saying
Is that how
calling
you say
Java.
it?
I think it's Kotlin. I don't know. I think I call
Coltain.
no, no.
Come on,
Don't,
Coltain.
no, nope. We're not. I'm not even gonna entertain that.
Pretty sure.
But you're sure?
No, I have no idea. That's always because it's like Reddit never said it. That's what this podcast is great for. We get to actually say things that we've only ever read.
Like red? Yeah. Um. So yeah, like I was like just stuck on, yeah, I'm gonna be a Java developer, blah blah blah. But then I had this internship, and I was doing Magento, and then I like it was just one like a recruiter just made it click for me. They're like, well, there's way more people graduating from college knowing Java because it's like this core language that every computer science student or information systems or whatever degree you took, software engineering degree, everybody learns Java or Python. So everybody's graduating with some skill in Java, right? But so then if you look at the rates online, it's a lot less than Magento because less people know Magento. And then that's when it clicked that, hey, I should just keep going with Magento. And I mean, for a while I hated it. I was just like, oh man, this is not developing. This is Magentoing. I hate it. Right. And it's just like I said, I've said it so many times. It was just so overwhelming, and the docs were just super confusing. But you get over that hump, and you make good money, and kind of fall in love. I don't know if Steve T's fallen in love yet. He's in denial.
No, I'm in love. Yes, I offered Magento a rose long ago, and she accepted.
Like I didn't understand in the beginning, but now I understand
No,
that you actually love me.
hey, and honestly, I agree with what you're saying because it's the same thing from the front end side. Like you go to school, or let's say your boot camp or whatever it is, you learn JavaScript and maybe your full stack, so like the Jam stack or the mean stack or something, and then you've got your like Vue or your React, and you've got all this, your head full of all this cool stuff, and then that's what you want to go work on. And so you're not necessarily going to also want to then go learn Magento
Like
front
layouts.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I recommend it, obviously, like, because I did the same thing where I was like, I went from being a WordPress Drupal front end, just vanilla, I'll build your website, whatever, to getting a job where there was Magento around. And I was like, okay, I'll try to work on that. And Magento 1 was a lot easier to kind of hop into and just figure my way around. But yeah, and then also I got lucky because I think a lot of people who were working on Magento 1, let's say you worked at a place that was doing Magento 1, and you just kept working there and they never switched. And now it's a year, 2 years, 3 years later. well, are you marketable still? Or can you get a job doing Magento 2? Like, what experience you have with that? So I actually
It's
got
tough.
lucky. Yeah. Yeah. So, but that was me too, is I got lucky, I guess you could say, and I got let go a couple of days before, or like a week before Christmas one year, um, with with a pregnant wife, and it was like, but that was when I first. That's when I got my job at an agency, and they were just starting to do Magento 2 because it just came out, and I was like, well, I know Magento 1, let's figure it out together. And so, like, you kind of have to make that progression, or just bite the bullet and learn M2. Highly recommend it.
Or you
You
get
know,
left behind.
or you just have to do normal web development like a
Yeah.
schmuck. Yeah, you're out there just, you know, it's not easy. Like, it's not easy, but so that's the thing too. Is it's like people, they want to like be like, oh, well, I know React or I know Vue, and web development is fun and simple. I know exactly what's all going to happen all the time, and I love it. And it's like, well, why don't you just have a little more challenge in your life and make more money? You know, like, just bite the bullet, learn this little bit, and then just, I don't know,
Ascend.
ascend.
Yeah. Yeah. But I agree. Like some what I learned from like just talking to people, I made this mistake a lot. When like as a newbie, I assumed I could just type in Magento and like there would be no difference. And then I realized, oh, okay, if someone puts Magento on their resume, you need to be very specific in asking them, do they know Magento 1 or Magento 2? And if I only see Magento, I automatically assume that it's Magento. It's on Magento 1, right? And then the other thing was like if you're looking for a solution or trying to reference something, you could easily make the mistake and just type how to do X in Magento, and then you just have all this stuff from like 5, 6, 8 years ago, and then it's like, yeah, none of this is actually relevant. It's like a world of difference.
Yeah, I don't like old articles at all.
Um,
Even, I mean,
have you? I mean, we got to wrap this up soon, but have you played around with PHP 8?
yeah, I mean, like a little bit. I
Oh,
think
I forget you're a front end
I tricked
developer.
you. Yeah, no, I mean, because like I think 2.4 supports it, right? But it's not
Yes.
like you have to use it. You can still use.
Yeah, you don't have to, but then like I just saw like stuff from like and I think somebody told me his name is actually Mark Schust, not Shust.
Whoa,
Yeah.
blow my
Yeah.
mind. Okay, Shust.
So, but it's my source might not be reliable, but I'm gonna, go off on a ledge and assume he's right. So Mr.
Okay.
Schust has like shown snippets of PHP 8 and it looks like a complete like looks way different. Like the syntax is different. And I'm just like, wow, like, okay, I probably need to spend some time learning PHP 8 before like it's just like blam in my face. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm old and obsolete now. And I'm not able to write this. But if Java becomes the new backend language, no worries, I'm good.
There you go.
So
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I'm used to that though because of JavaScript.
mm-hmm.
So what happens in JavaScript, you may or may not know, is that like all the browsers will support like ES6 or ES 2018, I think they call it. That's the standard of JavaScript. But then what everybody does is they have even newer JavaScript. So we're all writing like ES8, which isn't supported in any of the browsers. So we all write this new language that doesn't exist yet, and then we have a tool in between called Babel, or there's a bunch of them, and that
Mm-hmm.
will transpile your code down to what the browser understands.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm used to like, oh, the language is all different and new stuff is all in there. now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, sweet. You look at something, you're just like, what is? Oh, that's the new cool way. Of course, I love this. I like it. I
Yeah,
like all
yeah.
the new cool stuff. A lot of it is really cool, especially like arrow functions. If you're familiar with, if you've ever written a JavaScript function and then tried to access this,
Yeah.
like this is like a scope inside the JavaScript function. Well, an arrow function gets rid of it. There is no this scope inside of the arrow function. So that's a really nice thing. You don't necessarily want to, most of the time, I don't need this inside of a function. So I could reference this just in the scope of wherever that function is. And it's just that same this. I don't have a new this. I don't have to pass in a this and then or do a bind. So
Yeah.
that's all pretty nice stuff. Pretty cool. You know, JavaScripty stuff.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
man. Contribute to
we
your 401ks, people, especially up to the match, and then get some Dogecoin. You know,
yeah,
have a
yeah,
little
yeah.
fun with your life.
Yeah, because get rich.
Either
Right.
that or go off the grid, man. Be like I used to be.
Yeah. Buy a tiny house, live in what your what's it? Your van, or what do they call it? The RVs. Yeah, live in your RV. I mean, a lot of people in where in California live in their cars, which is horrible.
Yeah, or just a tent, right?
Yeah. Um
That just took a sad turn.
no. I meant like, because I didn't mean like the tent. That's like extreme. I mean like people just, trying to make it or being
Well, I think it's even
needing
worse in
money.
like Silicon Valley area. There
Yeah.
would be a lot of that. Like, yeah, like they might actually even have a tech job, but they're not able to support those huge rents and stuff around there. I guess it's probably not as bad now that everybody's remote. I think
Yeah.
that's probably going away a bit too. If a lot of these bigger companies remain remote, I think people are going to spread out away from Silicon Valley, and we'll have tech people all over the country, driving
Yeah.
prices up. Thanks a lot.
Huh. I think maybe we should touch on that in our next podcast, like how many people have actually like gone back to work. It's been months now. I mean, I haven't gone back to the office. Like,
Really?
yeah, the concept of an office just seems so like 2020, like who's
Yeah. No, I think you mean 2019. Or no. 20,
it was 2020. We're in 2021.
yeah, but 2020 was the year of the pandemic, wasn't it? That was when we were all working from home.
Okay. So yeah, 2019.
Seems
But
very
yeah,
close.
I mean,
I'll give you that.
we're 5 months into the new year,
Man.
and
It's a trip.
COVID has still not gone anywhere.
COVID's a trip, man. Yeah. I hope it goes away soon. It seems like we're finally getting over the hump, I hope.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think we are good on this episode.
Yes. The money episode.
We go ahead.
Get rich, stay rich,
Yep. Thank you for joining us. I know we took a different turn this episode. Let us know if you like this type of content, if you want more of it, and yeah, maybe we'll do more content like this in the future.
Yeah.
And
smash that like button, write a comment if you love it or if you hate it.
yeah, it's Steve T's fault. I just want you guys to know, not my fault.
Yeah. It's because you use trendy brands,
He's
and
making so much money now. He's rocking Adidas, right?
just saying.
Big money moves. He's wearing designer clothing.
This is actually signed by Mr. Adidas himself.
Yeah. Okay, guys, peace. We will see you next time.
Peace. Oh, hang on.
We're
It's still recording.